Starting video transmission. Hopefully that means I'm actually live. How is everyone this evening? Welcome to Lazy Mini Painting. I am Laz, the very odd person who does these streams. So yeah, hello, nice to meet you all. Now I'm going to have to make that a bit bigger. And hopefully I'm going to get messages so I can join you all on portrait mode. Because fingers crossed that's actually running tonight. I think I've started everything right, but I'm going to find out. Now there's not a lot to do tonight. We have missile launchers, essentially. Haha, there we go. Now which one is the portrait mode? That one. So I can come and join you, that's good. Do you need to mute it then? And then in we come. So yes, it's 10 missile launchermen. Our desolation squads as going to be used. Oh, the fun and games here, the fun and games. Good evening, Silvers. Boom, 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 boom to you and too. It is a good day. I'm lying. It's not a good day. It's been a shit day. I'm not even into the right amount of time yet to be able to say those words, but too late. Not much you can do now. How's you doing, man? How's you doing? Did pop over and catch a bit of Foxy's stream earlier, so there's a possibility that we'll be back over. Hold volume. Is that volume up? Do I need to put my volume up? I don't think I can put it any higher. No, I've got it on maximum. I've got it on 0.0 decibels. So it should be the highest it can be. I think. I don't know. I've given up today. Tired. Yeah. Of quite a few things. But that's irrelevant. Let's get some painting done. Right, so we already have one shoulder pad done. But the new shoulder pads aren't the same. Because they're from the Macqua Marines that I got from Rogues Den Hobbies. So I'm not quite sure how to paint these in, because they're kind of like cataphractii armour. Oh, hold one miniature up. Haha, yes. So these are the converted ones. So we've got the standard Space Marine side. But the new side has a slightly different shoulder pad, depending on the missile launcher that it's using. So this one's going to be the more frag style. And then you've got the classic missile launcher, both open, which is the more crack style. See, one big missile, one lots of little missiles. So I do have them available, they're all done. It's just, yeah, the shoulder pads, as you can see, is different, they're layered up, rather than it just being the one flat. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to manage to do that, because they've also got the armour plating here on the wrists, which we've seen on the Terminators. So pretty much got to follow that, I should imagine. Hello, Chanjala. Hello, welcome in. Welcome in. We're deciding what we're doing and how we're going to progress through painting these. So start with the shoulder pads, which is the Cantor Blue as the dark layer. And I'm not sure how, but I've managed to get this the right way around. Somehow. I don't know what I've done, but this is left again and this is right again, which is absolutely excellent. Good evening, Ali. Good evening. Nice to see you in again. Thank you for coming to join us. And we have Silvers over in the standard widescreen, and I've got 20 people over in the portrait mode, which is a lot for me. I'm not going to lie. That is an awful lot. So we're going to start with Cantor Blue. Wet the brush. That is going to get the paint out. And then get a little bit of Cantor Blue. And pop it over on the wet palette. Well, not wet palette, dry palette, because I've still not found a wet palette, even though I have been and gutted a lot of underneath my desk. I still can't find my wet palette. Which I must say is rather infuriating, because I like the wet palette. Ah yes, please do. Please go check out Silver's scratch building if you are into your scratch building or just general hobbying. Ali's popped a link up if you're watching on the wider screen. And let's get painting these shoulder pads. Again, don't go with the dry brush. Do our wet brush, especially as we're using pretty much raw paints. So if we follow the essentially what is the armour trim, you'll get what I mean in a minute then by how it's laid differently than a standard Space Marine shoulder pad, because it's not a Space Marine shoulder pad. What I probably should have done is a lot of sawing, a lot of cutting up, and actually make them look right. But this is lazy mini painting. If we don't have to cut something up, we're not going to. And we don't have to cut this up, it just has a little bit more character to the army. And it makes it easier to spot which is the Desolation Squad. So the ones with the one dodgy shoulder pad. Well, not dodgy shoulder pad, it's going to look okay. It's just not going to look the same as all the others. But in every case, it should be the one that's actually holding the missile launcher. So now you see there's another little layer in here underneath. So we have to get that bit blue as well. It's almost like they've got two shoulder pads on that side. So I know it's much darker, much darker. But we will be going back in with a brighter blue, which in this case will be the flat blue, or azure matte from Vallejo model colour. And that's one we'll be using for the Brio. First of all, we've got to go through all the others. Now these ones are a little bit more difficult, the ones that have actually got the missile launcher kind of in the way. This is going to make it a lot more fun to get in there into the gaps. And I am leaving my headphones on so I can get used to talking with my own voice in my head. That way when somebody does come up for, or if someone does come up as a collaboration, or just come up to chat with me, then my own voice isn't putting me off. Fargrim. No, but I'm still here. Probably not the answer you expected, but yeah. Could be better, could be worse. Kind of bouncing around that kind of level at the moment. Which isn't a particularly good one in fairness. It's not somewhere you want to be. But I hope you are good. I hope everyone else has had an alright weekend. Either fun or uneventful. Either one will suffice. Obviously, if it was neither one of them, then it's not going to be a good weekend, really. If it wasn't enjoyable and it wasn't uneventful, that usually means bad. Yeah, I can get in there. Yep, rolling nat ones. Nat ones in life. It's not a good thing. Although I did get those, speaking of rollings, I did get those very nice dice. Well, me and Sparkles actually. Got those very nice dice as a wedding present off Graham. Beautiful box. It was a beautiful box, I've got to admit. And the fact that it's our favourite two colours. Mine being the blue set and Sparkles being the purple set. And mine are sparkly. Don't ask me why mine are sparkly. I would have thought it would have made more sense to make Sparkles says sparkly, but either way, they both look good. So and the D4s are very impressive. Because normally D4s are just a little pyramid that are going to stab you. These ones are prisms. Prisms. painting blue at the moment. So while I'm painting blue, I have bought something new today to help on future projects. So those of you who are aware what's coming next and is replacing the magical world, I bought some more band members. I bought models to become band members. Now, even though it's going to take a lot of converting through 40k pieces, it's actually an Age of Sigmar box that I've bought. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I did frag first and then carried on with crack because I'm smart like that. Clever me. Clever me. So what has everyone else been working on? Anything new? Anything exciting? Well, Silvers, you've got about 6 projects on the go at the moment. Most of them Titans. Of various different races. As well as a few nice little scratch build projects. I don't want to spoil anything because I always put your link in the chat, so please people go check Silvers out. Whereas I do a lot of just basic stuff really. Silvers does a lot of the scratch building side. Not saying I've not done some of it, because well, kit bashing definitely I've done more of than scratch building, but I have done a little bit of scratch building. The entire world in this magical world was scratch built. None of the characters were though. Ooh, just working on Oaks. Whoa, yeah. Get the bush and fighting going on. Get him, you gits. Before I stomp you. It is going to be arcs that I'm doing on Thursdays from now on. Because Steve, if you're in, I have dismantled the stage to the bits that I wish to keep and the bits that I wish to replace. Mostly it's the cardboard that I wish to replace because I wish to make it sturdier. But I've kept a lot of the other stuff, which is going to be fun. So I also wish to give it a dance stage, which is hopefully going to be the floor from the what's it called? The Sky Shield landing pad. So I've snapped all the legs off and I've snapped all the shieldy bits off, and now I'm just left with the nice big flat bit. So I can archify that. Just leave a little bit of the Imperium stuff sticking through and a little bit of the details itself sticking through. A few orky things. What do I do for I don't work? I can do okie if inspiration takes me. It's actually difficult, as I found out, to just convert songs into okie. Oh, you got them from the Combat Patrol, so you've got the... Yeah, you got the same one I got. You got the Death Dread, the Mega Armor, War Boss, 2 units boys, and Deathcopters, I believe. Oh, and the Boomdack Snagwagon. Is it Boomdacker Snazwagon? Or is it the... No, it's the Boomdacker Snazwagon, isn't it? Yeah. But yeah, as far as work goes, Silvers, I don't work. I wish the social would understand that, because they seem to think I'm in work. But I'm not in work, because I take medication to make sure that I can move every night. And that results in carrying over to the daytime, to make sure I can semi-function during the day. And it is only semi-function. Now you do what I told you. Now you do what I told you. Now you do what I told you. Don't you die. It's just in time. For crap in time. Killing in the name of. Now you fight when we tells you. Now I'm gonna stomp ya. You know I'm gonna stomp ya. Cause I'm gonna kill them all with a big bag chopper. We's gonna jump in, we's gonna shoot her. We're gonna go in. Oh, water blazing. You better run cause you know who's blaming. I don't know what tune that was supposed to be to. It was part of a wrestling theme tune and part Killing in the Name of. But it kind of went a little, I think. Good evening, Lee. Good evening. And Adam. Yes, I do remember you, Adam. Adam and Miller. Yes, I do. You've been in a few times now, Adam. If it was your first time, like months ago, then please forgive me, I may not remember. But you wasn't in that long. It was not that long ago you was in. I remember. I do have slightly better than Goldfish memory. Not much better, but slightly better. Yeah, gotta have a bit of tea. Gotta have a bit of tea. It's nice, isn't it? It's nice. So we have Fargrim doing arcs. Silver's probably elbow deep in trying to fit resin together. Lee putting cardboard houses together to make sure his train track works properly. Which I'm not sure how it happens like that, but it seems to. I mean, gotta admit, Lee's train tracks do look damn good. But then again, that's what you get from scale modelers as opposed to fantasy scale modelers. Not saying fantasy scales don't look damn good, it's just true scale modelling does. It's an eye for detail. It is. Lee's one of the few people that I've ever met who has that eye for detail on a normal scale. So to make it so it is like 1/12 or something like that, to give it that scale is very difficult. Especially from scratch building things. Because you've got to be just right on each side. Tea and cramping, yeah. Tea and cramping. The British way, the Yorkish way is tea and cramping. The Warboss says it's the only way, so tea and cramping. That's no worries. Like, you do scale modelling though, so as I said, it's a different thing to doing heroic scale like this. Completely different thing, because obviously everything of yours has to be right. So if a 6 foot person is that big, then a 6 foot, yeah, everything has to scale correctly. Whereas heroic scale, you can play about a bit. Yeah, Silver's orcs are British. Orcs essentially are British football hooligans. That's all orcs are. They are British football hooligans. In style, in how they vocalise, and the fact that all they want to do is fight. Make some British football hooligans. That's at least in my book it does anyway. I've met some of the Manchester City ones. Yeah. Go out, get drunk, come back, start a fight. If you've not had a fight, it's not been a good night. And that's just basic. That's just the Manchester City ones. Never mind some of the slightly more known ones. Like Leeds. Leeds fans are known for being a little bit, shall we say, rambunctious? Or just downright thugs in some cases. So yeah, it's the kind of, they've got more of a southern accent, which is weird. So probably more say they're more Chelsea fans, but let's face it, Southerners are, no, they're not the same as Northerners. Especially when it comes to the standard of the thugs. Us up north have a particularly thick skull. I'm not saying we're stupid, I'm just saying we have thick skulls. I know me and my friend used to like pretend the wall was a drum and use our heads when we was younger. It's done no damage to me, I don't think. A 3.5 foot mecha. Oh yes, Millwall fans will suffice for that as well, Fargrim. I keep wanting to say Fulgrim because obviously I'm a 40k fan and it just... Well, you'll know that name yourself if you're a 40k fan. And it's a very insulting name actually, considering it's Slanesh, so no, I do apologise if I ever slip my tongue on that one. See, there we go, now we have... That's how those shoulder pads are supposed to look, as opposed to those. So although it won't have the silver trim up there, it will get double silver trim down here. But a 3.5 foot mecha. Silver, where do you keep that? What do you do with it after you've built it? Because, pardon me, I've had to like move specific things to fit the magical world into the slot it's supposed to go into just under the television. But that's like 11 inches by 10 inches by 11, I think it worked out at. So 11 at its highest point, 11 wide and 10 deep. So yeah, 10, 11, and then 11 coming up. And I struggled to find room for that. Even though I custom built it to fit in one of the little IKEA square holes. I did specifically make it so it would fit in one of those. And it does fit very nicely. And I struggle finding room for that. Then again, I have... Oh, put it on a shelf, that does make sense. But still, you've got to find a 3.5 foot shelf. Or something that can take a 3.5 foot model. I mean, I've got a 5'7" pile of Warhammer in the room behind me, but that's from the floor upwards. Like, there's no chance that fits on a shelf. And that's not even taking into account the tables, which have other stuff mounted on them. Yeah, I've got a few plastic boxes. 4 plastic boxes to be fact. 2 of the old flat ones. And they're the ones that are on the top of the tables. But the new square ones, no, they're at the base of the big 5'7". You're a World Eaters player. Blood for the blood god. Skulls for the skull throne. Yeah, I'm a World Eaters collector. Well, I can't say player, because I've never had a game with them. At least I've had a game with Space Marines and I've had a game with Orcs, so I can say I'm a player of both of those. I have yet to have a game with World Eaters. That's because I've not finished collecting them yet. Or Tyranids. Or Eldar. I've yet to play the Imperial Guard. I'll play as the Imperial Guard. I have faced them though. But I've never faced Tyranids or World Eaters. Saying that, I've never faced Space Marines or Orcs either. Because, well, unless you count Grey Knights. If you count Grey Knights, then I've faced Space Marines. If you don't, then... oh, sorry, no. No, tell a lie. Start of 5th. Although I had a small selection of Space Marines, my friend had Terminators and Dreadnoughts and stuff, so I let him play Space Marines while I played the Orcs. So I did get to play Space Marines, play against them anyway. But I've never played against Orcs because despite me having Orcs and more than just one army, nobody's ever thought to go, yeah, lads, can I use them? In which case the answer is going to be yes, please do. I've never faced them. But they don't. They always go, "Oh, I'm going to stick with my armies," and then I ended up. Well, now I've got limited to 2. It's Necrons or Tau, so they got to sit back and shoot me. That's pretty much what's going to happen next time I have a game. I'm going to have my opponent sit at the back of the edge of the table and shoot me. Unless he realises that I'm going to take the centre of the board and score a crap load of victory points, and then he might send his suits out for me or his destroyers. So I'll probably end up getting swamped with Scarfex or battle suits in the midboard, and then have a load of warriors holding his back line slowly marching up towards me. Oh, the joys. So that's either going to be like fire teams or breacher teams getting steamed up in not hammerheads, devilfish. Hammerheads is the ones with the big gun. And he doesn't need a hammerhead because he's got Storm Surge and a Riptide. He doesn't need a hammerhead. What he does need is a fucking commanding suit. Calm, are you watching? If you're watching, get Commander. I mean, I have put out feelers to get one for you. Hopefully they come through, and if they do, then you are gonna have to play me to get it. I'm gonna do a rescue a commander mission for you. It has been taken and being held captive by one of my many armies. You have to. I might even just do like little units of this and little units of that. God, are difficult to play, but you are 8 armies now, Fargrim. I don't think I'm up to 8. I mean, I can physically field 8 2,000 point armies, but that's a lot of Space Marines doing the pulling for that. Good night, Ali. Thank you for coming in, and I hope you have a good sleep. I'll see you. Well, I'll speak to you when I next speak to you, and hopefully you're here on Thursday. I might have to start doing a weekend stream just so you can stay around a little bit longer. But at the moment, I have no intentions of changing my Monday and Thursday time slot. The Wednesday time slot is a temporary one. It always will be. I always has been, because it's dependent on a magazine coming out. And obviously once the magazine is finished, then I don't have anything to cover on that time slot. So I won't be doing Wednesdays forever. But Mondays and Thursdays I will be sticking to. Oh, you won't get... Silvers, why does that not surprise me that you are the Tout Titan? You are the Titan for every faction. I don't want to game against you because I don't think I can bring enough anti-armor. Although, if I stick a lieutenant in every unit of intercessors, and then a couple of librarians in the Terminator squads to give them all sustained hits, a couple of Terminators to give them +1s. No, I think I could actually do it, you know. I think I've stand a chance of taking out a few Titans without any form of dedicated anti-armor hardware. It'll be a tough fight. I'll be relying on lethal hits and devastating wounds and stuff like that. I'll be looking to fish for 6s as much as possible. But yeah, I think I could take Titans out with infantry. Make of that what you will, but yeah, I think I could do it. Fargrim, Tower annoying because they only move in one direction and it's frigging backwards. Shoot, 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 run away! Shoot, 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 run away! So you've got to make sure that they can't run away. But then they just run towards the big stuff. And don't get me wrong, crisis suits are a pain in the ass. 3+ saves, some of them have 4+ invuls, plus like 2 or 3 plasmas or fusions. And then 5 man in the squad, so getting like 15 fusion shots out at a time. It's not fun. But they can only take 3 units. If you don't count broadsides. Broadsides can go take a running jump as well. I don't like the rocket pod setup because they don't need line of sight, so they can go. So seeker missiles, or they could be just as much of a pain in the backside and take railguns. Now they may not be as powerful as the one that's actually on the hammerhead, but they're still better than the scout unit. So you're still looking strength 8 and 9, I think it is, for the Tau guns, for the broadside guns. And I think it's strength 6 or strength 7 for the ones that the Pathfinder squads can take. I know it's not as powerful as the ones that the broadsides can take, and the ones that the broadsides can take aren't as powerful as the one that's on the hammerhead. I think the hammerhead hits at strength 12 or 14, something ridiculous like that. But it is only one shot, if I remember correctly. But I might be thinking of a different edition, so please don't quote me on that. Oh, I'm getting off camera. Finish off all the blue shoulder pads, and then we go on to the silver bits, and then we try and figure out what that, we're going to paint the guns. Ooh, you're going to be running a flyer. Do you realise that so many people are just not going to like you for running a flyer? It's -1 to hit. Yeah, that's why I brought it. It's devastating firepower, and you can't hit it. It's easier. But nobody else can do anything about it. Not my fault. You need to get something. In the next time we escalate, put some anti-aircraft in there. See, nice bright blue shoulder pads now. See the difference? See, he's got the dark shade blue, and he's got the brighter blue. That is a huge difference right there. And there's the first 5-man squad, with the sergeant having some kind of Auspex-y thing, because they can shoot out of line of sight with Castellan launchers, which they all technically have. Even though it only looks like they've got one missile launcher each, they can use about 4 different types if we equip them right. Paint a bit of my arm blue, why not? See, I always like the sound of an escalation league. Starting out with 500 and then up to 750 and up to 1000 and then up to 1250 and 517 up to 2, and build your way all the way up in 250 point blocks up to 3000. That would be awesome. So it'll be Oath of Moment rerolls, hits, and +1 to wound. Now I'll be looking for the natural 6s, so lethal hit on a nat 6 and devastating wound on a nat 6 as well, because it doesn't count if you get it with a buffed up bonus. But the Oath of Moment against certain units will be very, very useful. So Oath, the first one, everything bombards into that in the lowest form, so hopefully I can just pepper that with lethal hit bolt shots. If you think about it, 20 shots off 3 squads, 3 full 10-man squads, 20 shots with a lieutenant in, so any 6s are lethal hits. Re-rolling the non-6s for more lethal hits, because I can't get past the toughness with the strength 4. So there's no real point trying to beat the toughness. But if you can get a lethal hit in, boom. So that's what, 60 shots, all lethal hits on 6s. That's got a good chance of damaging a Titan. And from there it's you build up to the higher ones. So you'd have Eradicators further forward, or Terminators with sustained hits, particularly on that assault cannon. That's where you're going to be looking to get them. If you can get a full 10-man squad, stick 2 assault cannons in. Awesome. Along with all the... I mean, you might get lucky with some Stormbolter shots, but I doubt it. But you might as well shoot them off just in case. Couple of 6s on my part, a couple of 1s on my opponent's rolls, and all of a sudden those puny little star bottle shots, I've took a wound or two off a Titan. But really you're looking for lethal hits and sustained hits. And then devastating wounds thereafter. And then you start launching crack missiles and las cannons and any of your actual anti-armour that you might take. But because I can only take 3 lieutenants, it does make sense. Yeah, maximise lieutenants. 2 librarians in Terminator armour, just so I can split the squads up so you can't wipe the Terminator straight away with a Titan. You might be able to wipe both units actually, but never mind. And then other things in there, because you can only take 3 friggin' lieutenants. So anything else you can get into buff. So a similar thing with aggressors, with the Boltstorm gauntlets and the frag missile launchers. You stick an apothecary biologist in there with them. That not only helps them stay alive a little bit longer, but gives them lethal hits. And any melees, you want chaplains in there. See, I'm looking forward to the new box, because if that's right, I'm getting a jump pack chaplain and Vanguard veterans. And now I do have a unit of Vanguard veterans, I just don't have a jump pack chaplain. I don't have a jump pack librarian either. Do have a captain, if you count my old school classic marine, no, firstborn captain with jump pack that I kit bashed, because he's technically got a Grey Knight's jump pack, so it's more of a teleporter pack, and he has a bloody hammer. What a surprise, eh? Me giving units a hammer. It's my favourite melee weapon. Yeah, they are going to hate you. Your deep... Right, here's a question. Because I remember at one point that you, even if you had the ability to deep strike your entire army, something had to be deployed, or a certain amount had to be deployed on the field. Is that still a thing? Or if possible, could I deep strike my entire army? For instance, everything that can go in a drop pod goes in a drop pod. All Terminators, obviously they can deep strike in. Anything with jump packs can deep strike in. So if I could make it so that everything had the deep strike rule, could I deep strike my entire army? I know I'm slightly cheesing it, using drop pods because they can drop in first turn. But just for an example, if you've got no units on the board at the end of your opponent's first turn, does that mean you've lost? Which means going second is not a good thing for you. Because I know that was a thing at one point, especially in 5th. If you had no opponent on the table, you won automatically by default. But now it's gone very much over to more victory points. So if at the end of the first turn your opponent has units but not on the field, do you continue? Because that could be a very cheesy win for someone. Just make it so you can't deep strike on. Because they're going to get a full first turn move. Because you're not using drop pods, so you're not coming in first turn. So they're going to get a full turn on their own without you getting anything coming back if you've got everything in deep strike. And then on their second turn, they're going to be able to advance even more and close those areas off where you can come in, if they have enough unit size. I mean, if you're playing against Space Marines that are fielding 5-man squads and relying off grenade launchers because they've just gone pure intercessors. So what, 1,000 points? That's 5 full 10-man intercessor squads, which I think can still split down. Oh, intercessors can have 4 shots apiece. So 10-man unit, 40 shots, lethal hits on 6s, and 3 of them. So that's 40, 80, 120 if I'm getting a full range. Even 2 units at 80 is quite a bloody lot. We need a math armament expert. We need math. Where's Auspex Tactics when you need him? No. So you can put everything in deep strike from the start, and even if you're not there at the end of turn 1, they don't win. Right, okay. It takes me a while to decipher from chat what the questions are that I've asked in the first place. Unless you ask something... Unless I ask something that's so blatantly obvious and get such a concise answer that I can't possibly mistaken what he's answering. And that's a different matter. Even an idiot like me can pick that one up. And let's face it, you're all talking to an idiot right now. I am not on amphetamines to sort out my ADHD. So concentrating is not a friend. Or should I say, concentrating on painting's fine. And the camera helps me do that. Because obviously if I don't start painting, you're all going to complain. I don't mind a smash captain, but he's got to be on his own. A captain, I don't rate the captain model anymore with his rules. I don't rate it. You get a discount on a stratagem. Yeah, okay. But I want him to be a big punchy unit and make the unit he's in a big punchy unit. And he just doesn't do it. It helps a little, but no. Which is why I don't field captains much anymore, to be quite honest. Most of my armies are chaplain, librarian or lieutenant. Pardon me. The only unit that gets a captain is usually the aggressors. They get a Gravis captain. Because my Apothecary Biologist goes in with my Eradicators. As I said, there's not many units I can't field regarding infantry. In one shape or form. Whether you go for Firstborn or Primaris. I can usually field most units. So obviously all my old assault squads, jump pack, chainsword, bolt pistol, are now assault intercessors with jump packs because you can't field assault swords anymore. Oh, you do need to deploy something. Yeah, but it is down to points. So even if you don't deploy on turn 1, if you can build up the points from turn 2 to turn 5 to beat your opponent, then if you can afford to not be there turn 1, then you can afford to not be there turn 1. And deep strike everything in to go smash, 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 smash afterwards. So obviously if your opponent's not there, they're not scoring points. Which is the same thing that happened to you on turn 1. You weren't there, so you didn't score points. And they ran up and took the midboard. Freely. But once you do start arriving, if you've got enough gumph and numption to go boom boom and just start taking units off, just deleting units of your opponent fairly quickly, then you can pull that 1 turn deficit back quite quick. At which pace your opponent craps themselves and goes, oh, sugar, 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 sugar. I shouldn't have done that. I've spread out too thin. Because now they're out of range for counter attack, and they're out of range for a counter attack because I was too busy trying to screen. And you've actually just brought them all down in one nice big blob. I'm going, yeah, try and screen and stop all this then, will you? Ow, I've hurt my shoulder. I'm not sure. Well, I have actually got an idea. I slipped and smacked my head off a wall last night. And obviously my shoulder caught it as well. So that might have something to do with it, I suppose. I think that's got something really to do with it, hasn't it? Right, you are a bit of lead belcher. A bit of lead belcher. We're going a bit of silver bits. Well, the shoulder paddy bits anyway first, and then we're going to decide on what we're doing on the weapons. Still got plenty of time. It's not like I should be going to bed or anything at the moment. Right. Come here, you little bugger. There's some lead belcher on. And then these are really thick trim pieces, but they only go so far round. Firstborn are gone in 11th. But if I've got the model and they're on the right size bases, I can just use them as an equivalent model. Because if they're really going to get rid of the tactical squad and the Devastator squad, which, to be quite honest, them and the Centurions are the only real firstborns to survive. If they get rid of my Centurion Devastators, I am not going to be a happy chappy. They are my favourite unit. Oh, see, that Corvus Black Star and 3 units of Terminators. Essentially what I'll be considering taking something similar to go against Titans. With lots of Terminators with Librarians and Chaplains attached. Where appropriate. Librarians go with the range, Chaplains go with the melee. Now I only have 10 put together melee Terminators at the moment. And they are all technically proxies. But they are very, very good proxies. They're that good, I'd even argue for me to take them to an official thing. You go, look, you can tell what they are, they look the part, just because they're not the same as every fucker else's and I'm worth spending 698 quid from Games Workshop, shove it up your ass, I'm using them. And then I get thrown out of the tournament. Or the place where I'm playing. I still need to go to Element Games. And the War Office. Speaking of which, that's about Jill paint stuff. She goes to Element Games quite a lot as well. Let's go down, try and arrange a game with people. See if they want to play. So a 2,000 point game, you can put up to half of it into reserves. Because Deep Strike is still a form of reserves, it's just that how they arrive on the table to get to kind of teleport in essentially, or jump pack in, or you don't have to come in from the edge, you can get plonked down. Whereas I know some reserves you do have to walk on from the edge of the board, and then essentially you've only just got enough with your movement to get the unit on the board. I know that was one of the problems with the Baneblade. If you put that in strategic reserves and it had to roll on from the edge, then it didn't like it. I mean, drop pods are still about 70 points, aren't they? Give or take a few. I can't remember the exact pointing because I only have one, so I don't use it all that often. I've got to find the rest of the bits to my... I'll probably use it when I've got the rest of the bits to my Storm Raven. As I say, I can build multiple different army styles from my Space Marines, especially at 2,000 points. I think I've got over 12,000 with enough HQs to go, yeah, there's a leader, there's some troops, there's something else to go with it. Probably got just enough to do kind of a full mechanical force if I put dreadnoughts with transports and things. So maybe not quite a full mechanical force, but definitely a good chunk towards the way. Tati Deli, this is Warhammer. Yes, it is, but I am using third-party parts because Games Workshop it costs a lot of money, and I am really lucky to have found somewhere that sells parts, or at least bits that can be used. So I'm using them to make missile launcher dudes. So in this case, these are going to be my Desolation Marines. Good night, Silvers. Thank you very much for coming in, mate. Thank you very much. So yeah, Tati, these are. So you might not recognise these arms and these shoulder pads. They look a bit different. If you're familiar with some of the older Warhammer, you'll know what a Cataphractii Terminator armour is, and it's more akin to those shoulder pads on one side, and then normal shoulder pads on the other. But that's because of the third party bits that I've got. So the fist that's holding it is absolutely massive compared to that hand. It is quite a size difference. But it's to keep it all in theme, armoured up. The arm that's actually holding the missile launcher is a bit bulkier, takes a bit more of the recoil, that type of thing. At least in my head lore it is anyway. That's how I'm explaining it away. Let's face it, it is a made-up game with a made-up universe. Well, a made-up future universe or galaxy. So as long as we can find a way to storyline it away, as long as it doesn't change anything on the tabletop, then I don't see any reason why we can't do it. So in this case, my Desolation Marines have a bit of extra armour over them on one arm. Doesn't change the save at all, because let's face it, Gravi's armour's still got a 3+ bloody save, even though it's the same size as bloody Terminator armour. You're done, you're done, you're done, you're done, you're done. Crackside. Yeah. Whoa. Please don't ask. I don't know. It just happens every now and again. You just have to let the tism out sometimes. I don't know. I've not had the full thing to say I'm autistic ADHD. It's pretty much there. The only thing I'm missing is the piece of paper. I've got a piece of paper for the ADHD. They've not put the AU bit in yet. So I'm not a gold one. Again, please don't ask. I don't know. Nice come out of mouth. Wasn't expecting it. It happened. It happened. As I said, every time he's going to have that shoulder pad, it's going to be the one that's holding the missile. So even if it's the other way around, like this one, it's the missile launcher arm that's the bigger one. It does work, I think. We'll find out towards the end. I mean, it looked okay when it was just on there and grey. So I would imagine it'll still be okay once it's on there and painted. But we can't be certain until it's actually done. So how do we work that one out? We get it done. Yeah. It works. Very odd one, but it works. Oh, I just did the funny little wada thing. That's not good. That's really not good. I'm glad Sparkles isn't down here, because she'd have heard that and she'd be getting worried and probably tell me to stop streaming. But I'm not finished. I've certainly not done enough for me to go, right, I can call that done for tonight. Even though my eyes are going funny and my head's not right and my back's sore and various other things. We push through and we labour on. Because oaks always win. Oaks always win. They do. And even though I'm painting Space Marines, I am also an art player, so I do realise. I just realised when it actually comes around to do my Ark army, because at some point I'm going to have to, because I'm going to run out of Space Marines and run out of things, other armies to paint. So I'm eventually going to have to sit down and do my Arks properly. And at that point, I'm going to be scared, because they are in a terrible condition at the moment, and I need to rebase them all onto 32 mils instead of 25s. And I have a lot of the old locks, so they're already all on 32 mil bases. But I will do what I must. I do have about 200 just MDF laser cut bases, so I should have enough to do them, I think. You would expect 200 to be enough, really, wouldn't you? Can never be sure, though. Never be sure. As I said, tonight might not be overly long one. So is anyone thinking, oh, what a stayed to the end, but I've got to go to bed in about an hour? It's like, I should be done by then, don't worry. The problem is then, is anyone who pops in late, because of time differences and things, I'm usually coming off when they pop in. It's happened a few times with a few people, and it makes me feel bad every time it happens. It kind of makes me feel like I need to find something else to do, even though I don't have anything planned, just because people turned up late, and it's like, oh, I feel bad for you now. I want to do something else. But if I have finished, I have finished, and I'm not going to push myself to do things that I'm not prepared for and I'm not set up for. So we will see what we do. We will see how we do. Tea. Oh, drink. Cheers. Who have I not done? You are done. You are done, I think. Yep. You are done now. You are done now. You little stinky fella, you. He's a little stinky fella. He is. Well, as far as I'm aware, Space Marines still sweat and perspire. But if you're out in the field for like months at a time, and you're sweating and perspiring in this armour, it's gotta stink. Let's face it. It's gonna stink, innit? Right, now, do I silver up the wrist guards? Because a lot of them have wrist guard things. If you can, let's find someone who shows it off better. You. You see there, across his arms, he does have a load of wrist guardy things, which I've just layered up plates. Now, if I do that on all them arms, it's got to accentuate how thick and girthy it is. But at least then, it will show why. Thermite. Do you know the answer to that? It's 42. It's been 42 for decades. 6-7 is just the question. We've had the answer. And that's because we let the computer run its course and didn't destroy it for a hyperlane expressway. Stupid Vogans. Sorry, that'll be the answer you get every time you say 6-7. Because I'm from a generation where it wasn't 6-7, it's 42. I'm never going to see it as anything else as that type of question. So there you go. If we paint in the silver parts there, it does show that little bit more bulk of armour. Let's see how it looks on the standard cracky missile guys. See, I understand what frag means. Frag is fragmentation. Well, what's crack supposed to mean? Apart from what the dirty smackheads smoke. Oh, the dirty crackheads, should I say. So yeah, frag is fragmentation. What on earth is a crack? And don't say an Irish joke. I know what that one is. Ali has got me very well versed on that one. Very, very well versed on what a crack is from the Irish. And that is a joke. You're having a crack, you're having a laugh. That type of thing. But what's a crack missile or a crack grenade? I know it's supposed to be anti-armoured to some degree, but what does it stand for? Hello, Frankie. Hello. Welcome in. I'm just chatting complete twaddle at the minute. Well, kind of. I'm asking a question. 400 points. Terminators. Terminators, 400 points for 10 of them. Yeah, they're expensive. Terminators is expensive. But then again, you get a 2+ armour save with a 4+ invul save and either a power fist and stormbolter or light infantry shredder or elite infantry pounder for that, and they can take a beating. They can take one hell of a beating if they're going against the right sort of units. If you're unfortunate though, and yeah, that's his arm done. If you're unfortunate and you're facing lots of plasmas and stuff, you're really relying on those. Yeah, those 4+ invulnerals. I am painting, Frankie. I am painting some custom converted desolation squads. So I have. Well, let's see if it puts it up. If I put it on. Where is it? There it is. So I have a discount code for Rogues Den Hobbies, and the only reason I've got that discount code is because I bought a crap load of stuff, including the missile launchers that I'm using now, and spare hammers and thunder shields that I've got on the models that came with these. And now I've got 3 units of very customized and specific to my army. So my assault terminators, I'll have like fiery fur things. Oh, sorry, Nick. Oh no, you're Mandy. Sorry, Mandy. Yeah, thundery thorn things, big hammers, and like bucklers with spikes on, like claws. So it's not the big slab shield that you're used to. It's circular and buckler style. And the other bits that I had left over, because I wanted more missiles, I've just chopped off an arm for a load of easy build Space Marines and glued on the missile launcher. So now I have desolation squads, because it's one of the few that I couldn't field, and it was doing me head. So now I can field 2 desolation squads and 2 devastator squads, and pretty much everything is equipped with a missile launcher. So that's what, about 18 missile launchers from 20 guys. Because the sergeant can't take a missile launcher in a devastator squad, which I always thought was bloody weird. They corrected that with the desolation squads and allowed the sergeant to have a very special missile launcher, which means I've got to find a way to make sure that the sergeants stand out. In this case, the ones with what looks to be the standard missile launcher like this, the sergeant is pulling a blade. And in the case of the ones that's got this type of missile, the Sergeant has got an Auspex scanner. So it's easy enough to tell them apart from the rest of them. Even though we do have a left-hander here. We have to have a left-hander. Gotta have a left pegger somewhere. Land Raiders are expensive, Fargrim. Land Raiders are really expensive. And they can't even take a full unit of 10 Terminators. If you've got a full set of 10 Terminators and you don't want them slogging up the board, then you're teleporting them in. Take 5 though. Am I from... can't pronounce that name. Con, I have no idea where that is, so I'm going to say no. Probably the best thing for me at this moment in time is to say no. I don't even... Why do I sound like I've got an accent from near you? Is that why you're asking? Is that somewhere else in the northwest? Or is that some silly thing you've got to try and get a YouTuber to say? And that smile is because Sparkles has just come down and asked me a whatever. And of course the answer is yes. She's a wonderful person. She is. Still can't believe she's agreed to marry me. Yeah? She could get locked up mentally for that. You've agreed to marry him? You fucking nuts. No. You sure? You're coming with us. You know, one of them things. Where just the very action itself is... yeah, you're crazy because you've just done it. We do need to get some stat sheets done. Does anyone know how to... do we have any experienced DMs for Dungeons and Dragons? Either in chat, or if you're catching this late in Discord. I'm not going to lie, I'm struggling trying to customise these characters to stop them from being overpowered. So that we can get a nice fun game out of it. But some of these characters are just, because of the traits of the animal and beast that they are, it's difficult to balance it. Very difficult to balance it. I mean, what do you do against a level 7 barbarian that can fly? And a rogue that can fly and sneak attack with him? And then a familiar that can cause him to have advantage? Or 2. I think I've got 2 flying familiars. Have I? No, I've only got 1, which is the bee. But still, that's enough. A barbarian, a rogue, and a flying bee. Obviously the barbarian's a butterfly, the rogue is a bat. I need to find some way to keep them in feeling with the actual characters, but not make them to the point where the only way I've got to make it a challenge is to throw it all up against a Tarask. And they're only level 7s. But if they're walking through like Bala Demons and Frost Giants and stuff like that, then I might end up having to just put Tarasks in there. Or at least a Tarask stat block. I do have 1 custom beast that, put it this way, if I get problem players that want to build ultimate characters and want to play meta, then that's fine. I'll throw my custom monster in there. But I'd like it to be fun first. I'd rather it be fun, so that I'm not using stupidly overpowered custom monsters just to try and make sure the party doesn't wipe everything on turn 1. But looking at it, I'm going to struggle. Some of them are ridiculous. So take Sparkles and Oak, the title characters that were for that. I have most of their stat sheets. They have a reasonable chunk of health. One of them's got about 77. But they've got a natural armor class of 18. Because of their turtle heritage. They have shell pieces all over them, essentially. But they can't wear armor, which is fine. One of them's a druid, one of them's a cleric. Yeah, I won't be putting a librarian in a Desolation Squad, Fargrim. Librarians... Wait a minute, which librarian? Because I can't find my codex at the minute, so I'm not entirely sure which librarian. Frankie, yes. Well, yes and no. These... If you played Warhammer 40,000, or you're aware of the game, these are from the Space Marine faction. Now, recently, in the last few years, they have took the Space Marine faction and started replacing it with slightly bigger models, and basically scale creep, as they've called it. So these are to be two dedicated long-range missile units, known as Desolation Squads. Now, they used to have something called a Devastator Squad, which performed the same role, but smaller guys. And you could change the weapons on them. You can't really change the weapons on them. These, you either get a frag version, which is your anti-infantry, or you get the crack version, which is anti-anything tougher. It doesn't have the anti-words, it's just higher strength, so it's going to get through them. So that's for these games. The one I've just been talking about is actually Dungeons and Dragons, which have just finished a year-long project doing a diorama and 34, 35-ish characters for it. No, it's a completely made-up world, and all the characters, to a degree, have some kind of non-standard rule in there. Like the shark guys, the two shark bouncers, their weapon is a hook and a dagger, but there's a chain in the middle, so they can actually throw the hook and and the fighters, so the main strength, status strength. Whereas these are a specific unit spaced out and given stats for from a book, which I can't find my book at the moment. I know it's somewhere in the house. Or at least I hope it's somewhere in the house, but I can't seem to find my book at the moment. So, yeah, depending on the day, depends what I'm baiting. Today's Warhammer. On Thursday, it's still going to be Warhammer now, because I've finished the D&D project. But it's not going to be a playable form of Warhammer, it's going to be a diorama-y thing again. So I think Thursdays are going to end up being my big project day, and Mondays are just going to be the models and musings where you ask questions, I'll take a left turn, and off down that rabbit hole we go, and hopefully I get the unit finished some reasonable time frame or scale. If not, we just carry on next week. So it's not like we have to worry too much. This is my cheat, by the way. I'm going to do the aquilary things across the chest, and I can't be bothered painting them because they're a pain. So what you do is you get a Sharpie and you colour it in. See? I know, all his chest is done. Let's find one that's going to make more of an impact. So there we go. He's not got any of his chest done. Nothing. Nada. Good. Which game, Frankie? Dungeons and Dragons, D&D, are 40k. They are very different games. Both, I enjoy them both. But one is certainly more expensive than the other. And depending on the... So, right, these ones are 40k. This is the expensive game where I've... Oh, right, so these are for the 40k expensive game. The D&D, very fun game. Simple enough. Once I finish the stat sheets, I will put them all available on Discord for people to use. I will also put a brief description into how the magical world came about, so you'll have some backstory. And then, apart from using the actual models themselves, which will obviously only happen when I'm DMing, or if Sparkles ever decides to DM, which I doubt she will. But yeah, the models will get used mostly when I'm DMing. In which case, I'll use this camera to show any parts where you're in. Right, he wants to move, dink, dink, dink. But much more zoomed out, so it'll be easier to see. And as long as you have either a camera or you can share your screen with a dice roller, all you need to be on then is microphone, and we play, and you get to use whichever of the characters you wish but hasn't been taken. Now, there is a certain pecking order on who gets to choose character first. There's a reason it was called The Magical World of Sparkles and Oak. That is my soon-to-be wife's screen name. She is called Sparkles Oak on the screen. So she obviously gets first choice just in case she wants to use one of her two characters. There are other people they've come in and found out and been watching along, so they have their own characters. Ali, one of my moderators, has had affectionately by the rest of the community, has had a barbarian bunny rabbit named after her. There'll be somebody called Northern, who you may see if you come in a little more frequency. He's got an Eldritch... No, not an Eldritch Knight. Northern's got the College of Lord Bard Gunslinger. Buzzard, if you are here, mate, you have still got the Eldritch Knight Owl. So, some people have characters that they kind of like, yeah, no, that's mine. I want to use that. I can play. It's fair enough, but there is plenty of other characters available to play. So there's more than one fighter. There's more than one wizard. I don't think there's many sorcerers. I think there are about 2 sorcerers and maybe 1 warlock. But there's a couple of rogues. There's a couple of druids. There's variations, so you can play things that you would more like to. But yeah, depending how many people play, depending how many of the characters get used. Obviously, the more characters get used, the bigger the one-shot's going to be. Especially if there's a battle, it might be something really bloody huge that it will take a lot of teamwork to go against if there's 12 of you. If there's only 3, it might turn into be a murder mystery type thing. And again, it depends on the characters. If you're all taking low intelligence, hide hitting, like barbarians and things like that, then running a murder mystery might not be the best idea. So that will be probably more combat focused. If people have taken more wizards and more the intelligent spellcasting side or charisma based sides, then you don't have to run it as a fighty type session. You could run, as I said, like a murder mystery or an investigation or some kind of other thing. It all depends on what you do, really. As the players, the DM's gotta wing it a lot around you, because if you take a left or a right turn away from the story and decide, no, I don't care about this village, let it burn, I want to go into the wilderness and see if I can find a fairy that'll cast me a wish. Okay, my 2 days with prep have gone out the window, and off you go into the forest. Hello, club! Yellow. So D&D is a really good game. I like it anyway. I like it so much that I've let my missus buy ridiculous amounts of characters, and I've made an entire diorama for it. And my first wedding present is actually 2 sets of D&D dice in a very nice box. Thank you again, Graham. You're going to get thanked every time, right up until the both. See, I play both as well. I had D&D and 40k. I've never... wait a minute. By saying you have a stat sheet for Marines, is that a stat sheet in D&D for a Space Marine? I see, club. I've made this really easy, even for other DMs. Every single one shot or the start of any single campaign will always start on or in the little pocket dimension that is the magical world. And you will receive a message in a bottle from the portal. You build your party and you venture through the portal. Where you end up from there, well, that's whoever the DM is and what's them to decide. But you will always start on, basically, on the diorama. So you will walk down off the pier, through the portal, and end up wherever the bottle came from. So you could go to all sorts of different places. You could end up in the 40k universe. You could end up fighting who knows what. You could end up bumping into, well, in my case, I've got that many models from various different factions and a few different game systems that it could be bloody anything. You might end up fighting the 12 cats from the Cats and Catacombs. You might end up going against Tyranids, Orcs, Space Marines, Goblins, Gretchens, Squigs, Zombies, Skeletons. Could be anything. Could be anything. I'm not even sure where my Lich has gone at this moment in time, because I do have a Lich that's got a spell book and doing stuff. Back to the on there. He was over there, but he's not anymore. I think I've put him away. So I've got lots of different things for you to face against. There is a bar. There is no tavern. It's a tropical island. You sit outside and drink. And that is why there is 2 big shark bouncers with hook and chain and daggers to make sure nobody messes about. And the 4 militia. The 4 local law enforcements. Which is Nadal, Northan, Ali, and... oh, the War Cleric Sheep. That doesn't have a name yet. And we're not having Bartholomew. No. Not having Bartholomew. Not allowed. Now, what colours do I do these guns? Part of me is tempted to leave them the majority greyish. But I've definitely got to paint some kind of tip on it, haven't I? Definitely got to paint some type of tip. Sorry, you want to know something? I'm just going straight for bold pyro red. Pro acryl. Bold red. Bold, bold, stand out a mile red. But I think I've also got all the eyes to go around and do as well. Yeah, I have. Must ask every single NPC's name. Please don't. As the DM, I don't have the sanity for it. And see, I figured this one out because I've DM'd a couple of times for my family, so I figured this part out. Most NPCs ignore the party. They don't want anything involved with them. They don't want anything to do with them. They just want to get on with their lives. So just leave me alone. So most NPCs will ignore the party. Because you're going to look weird. You're all going to be anthropomorphic little things that might turn up in the human world. And all of a sudden you're a 6-foot bunny staring a bloke in the face going, "Hiya, can you tell me where the local lord lives?" Whoomph, he's gone. Fake creature, no! So he's going to lose his mind. So, I mean, if I'm not DMing and the other DM's fine with it, then go right ahead. You can ask the name of every single NPC, and if they're good enough and quick enough, they'll give you an answer. I, however, will do prep work to try and do my very, very best to keep you away from NPCs, apart from the ones that I've planned on. Like the one who sent the message in the bottle. Them ones. I mean, there won't be no NPCs, obviously. There will be a certain amount of NPCs that you can interact with. For instance, the store owners, any tavern owners, as well as whoever sent the mission in the first place. Well, they're all going to have set stat sheets designed to run one-shots rather than a campaign. If it turns into a campaign, then whoever's controlling can make that choice. At the end of the campaign, no, all characters will revert back to level 7. Which will make sense once I've done the lore for the magical world. There is kind of a bit of magic involved there. Which means that to return back to that place, you will automatically revert back to the level 7 stat sheet that I made. But if you're doing a campaign and it's taking long enough and you've done enough, yeah. And as you ask Tirioth, the local merchant, about his wife and family, he breaks down in tears and tells you to get out. How dare you mention their name in my presence? And you've not mentioned a name, you're just mentioned his wife and kids. And he's taken a very bad disliking to you and thrown you out of his shop. Now you've got to go find out what happened to him. Good luck. Because he's not willing to talk about it. Must be quite traumatic for him, really. Not sure what it is. Woo. Go on, roll a insight check. I know you didn't get a nat 20. Do you want me to roll an insight check? I can roll an insight check. I don't know which character you are, so it'll be a base roll of whatever the roll may be. But it gives me a chance to use my dice. Hey, up Graham, speaking of dice, I was just thinking of an excuse to use it, and Club has just put me into a hypothetical D&D scenario where they've just been thrown out of a shop for asking about the shop owner's family, and he's taken a very nasty turn on that and decided he's going to try and throw people out of his shop. So give me a second, I need to find out what the insight check is. Of course, I am getting that box of dice. That would be very silly of me not to get that box of dice, wouldn't it? Move the potential dangers out of the way. Clip open the clip. And now move the paper. And obviously I've got to get mine. I can't. Sparkles will not like me using hers. And I've got to find the D20. So let's find out if Club has actually managed to successfully pass an insight check. 15 is the DC. And you get a 6. So no, he's just a grumpy old man and he's just throwing you out of the shop. And you don't know why. All he was doing was asking about his wife. He got really uppity with you and just shut you out. Not even sure how he'd shut you out. Must have been some kind of magic. Wow, you've been playing for 6 years now, Fargrim, And you're already level 17. Your DM's stingy. He's really stingy. Oh, she's really stingy. Whoever it is, they're really stingy. You should be way up there by now. You should be able to get to level 20 and start again on a different class. Right, so we have red-ended missile launchers, and you can just about make out red eyes. I'm really not sure. There's part of me that's saying I need to do chevrons on the missile launchers. I can't do chevrons. I'm going to have to practice chevrons. I'm going to have to practice chevrons off screen and then hopefully come back next week and be able to paint chevrons on them. But for now, we want the ends of the missiles to look like red lipsticks. It's basically what it looks like. And then very, very, very lightly into this. Ah, your rogue friend looted the shop. Your rogue friend looted the shop. Well, in that case, you would be Barnaby, who is the bat. If you're looking for your rogue friend, who's going to do lots of stealing. He is the thief after all. And that would be Barnaby the bat. So he could have been hanging in the rafters while you distracted him. And then detached and whoosh. I'm coming to get the healing potion behind the counter. Please roll a stealth check. I got better than you think. I'm invisible to everyone. Shit. Right, okay, you get the potion of greater healing from under the counter. That type of crap. Yeah, charisma check first of all to see if he's distracted by you. Well, we did that a minute ago, which, well, no, that was an insight check to find out why he was so upset about his family, and it failed. But Fargrim, go on, roll a charisma check to see if you can get him to actually move. If you've got a dice to hand. See, I can't go check any of the quick guides that I've got because they're all on my phone. Although, it is popping up on there now, so I could drop that back and then use my phone for that. Right, so let's give me a quick 1 second. I'll see if I've actually got a charisma build built. I think I have Nadal built. I'm not sure. Let's find out. So I've been using a basic character creator. That's Sid the Fighter. No. Go away. Yeah, no, I have Samash. So I have Shamash, who is a paladin. So you get a +3 on your charisma roll if you're playing a Smash. So charisma check +3, and you don't have any bonuses in persuasion. You could try intimidating him to tell him why he's to move him out of the way, which would get a +3 for. You are a Dragonborn as well. You have a Morning Star, you have a spear, you have a scimitar. You've got a fair few bloody weapons. Lots of bloody rules that I've got to make and put on there. Ain't the quickest though. Only got an 8 dex. Not the smartest with the 10 intelligence either. But wisdom, constitution, strength and charisma. You're doing alright. You're not as tanky as the 2 turtle ladies though. They have a natural AC of 18. Which is a shame. But yeah, Shamash has a +3 for charisma. And a +3 for strength. So as far as a paladin goes, he's alright. He's alright. Only 70 HP, so again he's less than Ambermead. You don't get to use Thosh, you don't get to use either because they're completely different things. Dave and David go together. And Sid and Shadow are the 2 shark fighters, and obviously Ali is the bunny rabbit barbarian. She's got a lot more HP. It's also got a +4 in strength. And only a +2 in dexterity. What's the minus on? Wisdom. Ain't so wise. Battle axes, hand axes, javelins. Yeah, lots of those stuff. And she's a harefolk. Oh, I did give her a harefolk. So gain perception and initiative proficiency. As a reaction, you can add D4 to dex saves. Proficiency, you can 5 times the proficiency in feet and knock forward. Oh, so you can jump a bit. Fair enough. What proficiency bonus have you got of this little proficiency bonus? Where's your proficiency bonus? I'm gonna guess it's 3. Because -1 on wisdom and you get a 2 for animal handling, so proficiency bonus 3. So Ali can jump 15 feet. Oh no, proficiency. Yeah. So proficiency, so 3 times a day she can jump 15 feet away from something and not provoke an attack of opportunity. Oh, that's not bad. Not that she's going to be jumping away much. She is the barbarian who wants to go smashy. Right, where are we up to? We've done the little red end. Yeah, we've done the red tip. And I wonder why I don't get as many people watching me for silly little innuendos like that. That's why. Now we've got to do old left pegger. The self-paw. No one says Space Marines always have to be right-handed. The left-handed one is better on the end. Just to make sure that both flanks are covered. And we'll get the missile tips and the eyes done tonight. And then I need some practice on chevrons during the week. And I also need to dig out stuff. Danny should be digging out a lot of stuff, really. And I know I've got a long build day ahead of me on Wednesday, which is the day we put together 20 Cadian shock troops. I thought it was going to be 5 then 5. I thought they split it over one sprue over 2 issues. Apparently I was wrong, and you get 10 in each, which means an absolute shed ton of Imperial Guardsmen. Well, we already have Imperial Guardsmen, but having some, what I might have to do is figure out what I've got and then use these Cadian shock troops to fill in any gaps. But I think I have enough special weapons and boxes and things. I think it is standard guardsmen that I need, which I'm not too sure. Oh, I forgot a red bit. The red bit, of course, being the casing for the bolt pistol. All casings on bolt guns need to be red. Whether it be a bolt rifle, a bolt gun, a bolt pistol, a heavy bolter. If it fires bolt rounds of any description, its casing is red. That's just generic across my army. Some people don't do that. Some people make the heavy bolters more silver. They can. I'm going to say they're wrong. They're going to say I'm wrong. We're going to agree to disagree, and then we're going to roll dice. And may the dice decide. So we have red tips on all the rocket launchers, or missile launchers. If he's got a pistol that's out, it's red as well. We've done all the silvers on the arms. So, Graham, thank you for all these. They've all been painted on now. So the shoulder pads have all been done. The extra armour layers have already been done as well. And we have red bits out there. So, yes, I believe that is everything I had planned for tonight. That is expected to not be on too long. I did want to hopefully come over into the magical world just to get a few things. Right, so Fargrim, you're class is usually an assassin or a bard. He's a druid, that's a wizard. Right at the bottom, we need a name for an assassin. Let me go get the assassin. As I said, each character does kind of have its own thing. So in this case, we have a little penguin assassin with shiny eyes, 2 daggers, but he doesn't have a name, or she doesn't have a name. We don't even know by our girl at the minute. But that is one character that does need a name. And Fargrim Hornraven, although it's a penguin. So Fargrim Horngwyn. Ooh. Can I steal your name? Which obviously will give you first dibs on the actual assassin. But yeah, that's the actual assassin that is for the magical world of Sparkles and Oak, which is a little penguin. Now, he does not have a fly speed, but he does have a swim speed. He also has a certain resistance to cold as well. But Fargrim Horngwyn. Ooh. That could work. But if you could think of a name that you think, oh, no, that'll do. That's a nice name for that. I think that'll be a really cool name. Please pop it in the comments. Let me know next time. Or join the Discord and tell us in there. But yeah, we've not named the assassin yet. And we do have a penguin assassin to name. Do we have any bards left to name? No, Rose got named. Oh no! The sheep has been named. It's been called Ewan. It's better than Bartholomew, I suppose. We have no good name for the critter. Well, we have 2 potentials for the Drake Dog. Who else we're missing? We've got Chris Shadow, Nadal, Smash Chester. The Warlock Bartender, who might end up being Carl Hulu, but we're not sure. The Copper Cat, who is actually a Forge Cleric, doesn't have a name either. We have Herman, to wave the open hand. The Shiny Bee is George. The Barbarian Butterfly is Jeff. Barnaby's the Rogue Bat. Homoto Yoshi is Beastmaster Fox. So that'll leave. Yeah, we've still got the Yellow Fox Druid and the Wizard Lizard, the Displacer Kitty. The Yellow Turtle doesn't even have a class. But the Assassin Penguin doesn't have a name either. So if you can think of one, let us know. But at that point, I've done my eyes. Not my eyes, their eyes. I have done the shoulder pads. I've chosen the little tips of the weapons, but I've decided I am going to put chevrons on them. I just need to practice chevrons. Or make a template. If I can make a template, that'll be fine. So I can just kind of stick it down and dab on it. But it's going to take a little bit more work than I thought tonight. I didn't think tonight was going to be as much work as it was, and it's turned out to be a lot more work than it's going to be. Not good. Not good. That means I've got to think. I don't like thinking. Thinking hurts. So, leaving it at that. Again, names for the assassin if you come up with one. And anyone else who's watched, he's not just Fargrim, he's just a Fargrim says he plays assassins a lot, so I thought, name. Awesome. But thank you, anyone and everyone, for joining me this evening. Graham, I'm so sorry you came in late, mate, but yeah, I'm sorry, man. But you did get me to see me use the dice. Any excuse I get to use those dice, I'm going to use. So, yay. Yeah. Thank you very much for everyone coming. Which one is it? I want that one up now, don't I? Yeah, I also need to make it bigger on that one. There we go. So I can still talk over this. Thanks everybody for coming to see me. As I said, if you want to come back, please hit the subscribe button. Hit that like finger or the thumbs up thing. It probably owes you money, so give it a damn good slap. Comments always help out with channels. We know this. YouTube's been around for ages now. Comments, likes, and subscribes. That's what YouTube likes. It also means that more people get to come and see me and join you in the chat to throw ideas about for yourselves as well as for me. But until that happens, yes, thank you very much. I don't think there's much more to say now apart from watching my little thing go up and down. Thank you very much, Twisted, for making this, by the way. It gives me a good timing. As soon as I see the little thing come up, I know to click end. Well, I've got to give it a chance first. I think you have to count to about 12 or something. And then I get to click the end. Now, all these people have been instrumental to getting my channel going, in case you're wondering who on earth. I've even been in the bloody thing. I've not seen any of them in the chat. All of them are very instrumental to this channel starting, which is why they got on there. I do need to do an updated version of this because there's quite a few more people that need to go on, such as Silvers. Great, I think Graham's already on here actually. Fargrim, you've been coming up quite a lot now. You never know, your name might end up there without you expecting it, but I will have to say goodbye. Thank you very much. Please drive safe, everyone.